It was weak. Yo, what up? Let's try again. The gum got too hard in the last like minute. I love blowing bubbles. Hey, so I gave birth to my beautiful baby girls a week ago, and I still can't believe that they are already here. It kind of happened a little bit more quickly than I was hoping for, but I'm really grateful that everything worked out the way that it did. The last, I'd say, month of that pregnancy was really hard. I haven't really been this tired for like a sustained period of time. I'm just like feeling very physically exhausted. Bruh.
The other nights I haven't been able to eat it because they just wake up. So they were waking up so often. Last yesterday and today.
I'm trying to record a video. I'm trying to keep all the thoughts about me and my pregnancy and just process in my head.
So yeah, I wanted to make a video before like a month passes like I did last time, because there's so many details that kind of become fuzzy over time. So yep, the babies were born. I delayed pumping, and this is like how much milk I have to work with. So I'm freaking out about that. I've gotten, maybe for the last week, maybe like 12 hours of sleep the whole time, which is crazy. It's kind of like a constant headache. So yeah, I've been on anti-inflammatory stuff, ibuprofen, Motrin. I think they're the same exact thing. I always get confused by that. And some opioids, because we had to have basically an emergency C-section. I was really trying to fight it. my doctor suggested it, and part of me was like, oh, like, why are they doing this? And then as the process went on, you know, it became more clear. Because basically, I lucked out and I got a really great doctor. I feel like she just kind of understood where I was coming from and what I wanted. It still was like real with me, which is such a hard balance to strike. Because ultimately I needed to get a C-section, and I've always been one of those people who has I've been very opinion. You know, I think people should just try to labor naturally. I think there's way too many rates of like elective cesareans. So I didn't want to elect to get one unless I absolutely needed to. And so that's kind of why I'm wanting to tell this story now. So let me just get to it. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your interest in any of this. I'm like in such a weird place in my life when I watch some of these videos back. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, girl? What are you actually doing, homie? But I'm just trying to do what I can and have something to look back on and be like, oh, okay, whoa, look how much I've grown. Look. So I went in for a doctor's visit on Thursday, and for maybe like a week after our Florida trip, I was going in, 2 times a week doing a stress test or a non-stress test, and just making sure the babies were good. The babies looked good, so kept it moving along. My doctor gave me a time frame of when we could deliver, and basically said, okay, let's choose a day, let's have you come in, we'll induce you, we'll go from there. And I'm like, okay. With twins, it's just, you can't really like push it too much further past the recommended times for a number of reasons. But identical twins share a placenta, and placenta normally has enough nutrients and blood and filtering capabilities. It's like basically like a fish tank filter that provides food, or, well, blood, which I don't know what you would qualify blood as. It's like a life-giving material. It's not food, it is food-like, unless you're a vampire, of course. Totally losing my train of thought. So yeah, I went in for my appointment, and my doctor had scheduled me another non-stress test, and when I get there, she's like, let's do an ultrasound instead. And I'm like, okay, cool. And at that point, I had like developed a lot of trust for my doctor, and I am like not trusting. Babe? So, oh, look, a little kitten. Gotta find a home for this little guy. Brooke's in the dining room. Yeah, I was just learning to, try to trust what she was suggesting and go home and think about the stuff she said, even if I didn't, outright, agree. It's kind of hard. I'm not one of those people that will just, agree with people just to agree. I always want to go and do my research. So, anyway, to make a long story short, yes, babe. Excuse me. If I laugh or cough or hiccup or whatever, I have to hold my incision. So anyway, so she said she was going to do an ultrasound. I'm like, all right, cool. And she told me that she was not great at sonograms, and she would just take a look and see what she found. I'm like, okay, cool. I love when people are honest about their abilities. What's going on? So anywho, she says that I'm gonna take a look. Let's just see what we see. I go, okay. And we're chatting a little bit at the beginning, and she kind of goes quiet, and I'm like, oh, I won't distract you. Let's see what she finds. And she goes, just a sec. Conversation just like cut off, and it's not always a good sign, So I'm like, oh, I don't want to freak out. I don't want her to freak out. Let her cook, give her some space. And so she says, I'm gonna go talk this over, and I'll be back. I'm like, okay. And my daughter was with me, so she's watching Kokabee, in the office, and just trying to grab anything that she can, just being a cute little girl. So by the time 5 minutes pass, I'm like, okay, I wonder if she's coming back. I didn't even suspect anything at that point, but she comes back and she's like, okay, one of the babies has really low amniotic fluid, on the low side of normal, she says. So she says, I think, and so does my attending, think that it would be best for you to go home, get your stuff together, and come back here for observation. And I was kind of floored by that. Like, oh my God, like, what do you mean? Is she being dramatic? Is this, like, is she going overboard? Because up until that point, she basically had made suggestions or told me what she thought was going on, and I considered what she said, and I was like, okay, cool. So when she told me that, I was totally floored. Part of me was like, wait, is this for real? Is this from an abundance of caution, as she said, or is this like, what's going on here? I was very apprehensive to really hear what she was saying, just because my pride. I really just wanted to keep the babies in another week, even if it was really uncomfortable at that point for me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go and communicate this stuff to, the father of my children and see what's going on. So I go home, pass the information along. My mom says it's no big deal. You should just hang at the house. You'll be fine. My boyfriend's mother, who's a pediatric nurse, was like, no, they're doctors. This is their job. Just listen to them. They are exercising their observation from an abundance of caution and wanting to make sure everyone can be born alive. And, that's very sobering when you think about it. Because although 10 years ago, 20, 50, 100 years ago, they didn't have ultrasounds, women died in childbirth, babies died in childbirth, cord entanglement is a really real thing. And so yeah, I've done lots of research. I didn't do a lot of research on C-sections just because like the whole concept really terrified me. And I thought for sure that I would just be able to labor naturally and everything would be good. And you hope that, he's on the phone. This is kind of a shit recording. Anyway, you just hope that everything is in that 99% correct. You can have 1% error, but I had more than 1% error. So, in this instance, and so basically went home, rallied the troops, you know, had to resign myself to the fact that I just have piles of laundry to go through, and I didn't assemble some of the furniture that I wanted to assemble. So, dealing with all of those feelings, just for me as a person that likes to prep, is very frustrating. I like to be completely ready for stuff when I can be. So anyway, we go to the hospital. If my boyfriend drops me off, or I think he stayed with me for a while for my intake stuff. And the nurses were like, "Whoa, you're so calm. I've never met another person who is as calm as you are." And I thought that was an interesting comment, because it's amazing what exhaustion does to you. I've always thought that people who are really like strung out and uptight, I'm just like, you just don't do enough during the day. And right now, I feel like I use every second that I have. It's towards doing something. So anyway, we get in the hospital. Almost every single person I interacted with was just like perfect. But of course, there's always that one person that's like, "So did you do IVF?" It's like, first of all, that's a really rude question. Second of all, I don't think that's like any of your fucking business, right? That has nothing to do with like my medical experience of being pregnant with twins. So go fuck yourselves. And third of all, like, I mean, no, but like, does that change anything? Like, who cares if somebody had IVF? I've made some like weird comments about IVF in YouTube comments over the years, and that's really like hypocritical of me, because I went to school with so many kids whose parents used IVF. No one was ashamed of it. It wasn't like this big dirty secret. They were like, we wanted kids, so we saved up the money. We spent our money on these fertility treatments, and they worked. So praise God, we have our children now. So it's just you know, people spend their money on whatever they want, and I think it's cool when people decide, you know what, I do want a family. Baby, where are you, babe? I hear you. Where's my girl?
Just let me know. Let me know. Hit me up tomorrow.
Oh, hi, babe. Are you going in there? Hold on, honey. I'm really trying to keep my train of thought. I have to just do this video over because he's talking and it doesn't really make much cohesive sense. It's nice to just do things off the cuff when I can. Anyway, I wish he would go. I just told him I was doing this. Coming. Okay. Anywho, so I got into the hospital. I love the hospital that I gave birth at. I didn't think that I would want to, have all my children there, but the first time I was so pleasantly surprised, and, this time they just kind of totally took care of me. Getting all emotional. I just felt totally safe. It was a really scary experience. I'm trying to avoid talking about it because I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I had a C-section. So anyway, they discovered that that one of my babies was on the amniotic fluid was on the low side of normal. And that's why they wanted me to go in for observation, just to see how the twins were doing, and if my heart rate stayed the same. Basically, you have to, from what I understand, twins are usually smaller, than single babies. So one of them can handle labor well, the other one might not. Because the contractions are just like, pressing on them and making them move and contort. And if they're already really little, that might be too much of a strain. So, I stayed the night. I watched a bunch of Bones, which is one of the best shows ever. And it was the episodes where like she was pregnant and having a baby. So I was like, oh my god, this is so perfect. And I love Bones. I feel like I have the same personality. People always accuse me of like, you know, acting boyish or whatever, and I'm just like, nah, I'm like super feminine, but I also like just let myself be myself, you know. Autism type of feelings notwithstanding. So I wait around for Dr. Torres to be available, and I was really excited because I really wanted to see that specific doctor at the MFM clinic, and he was busy. It took like 2 months to get an appointment with Dr. Torres, so I was very disappointed because they kept pushing for me to go see these specialists at ROC, and I was really happy with the care that I was getting at the hospital, so I was like, eh. What happened?
Whoa, purple, orange.
So anyway, I got to meet Dr. Torres, which was really exciting. And I met this x-ray tech. I waited in the hospital. That was why I stayed in the hospital, basically, so that I could link up with them in the morning. And I really like the hospital. Like, Scrubs is like probably my favorite show of all time, just because it like shows you like how doctors become doctors. And yeah, so it's like a teaching hospital. So it was just it's for me it's such a perfect experience because
Ow! What the fuck was that?
you help young doctors get experience.
Dude, that just totally messed up my ears.
If you have like an interesting pregnancy, your case can be used in like further medical records or studies, which is very cool to me. I want to be able to help people if I'm already pregnant, you know, and the results of my pregnancy can potentially help someone else, then that's cool. So I have a meeting with them. My doctor shows up and like all of her peers, and they look and they're like, wow, that, you know, baby B has less than a centimeter of fluid around them. And, you know, so basically this much. And her sister had a normal amount of fluid, which was like between 5 and 7 centimeters. So up until then, it wasn't like very real for me. I was like kind of thinking they were blowing things out of proportion. And when I saw on the ultrasound, that made perfect sense to me, because there's so many instances, you know, where things just go wrong. Things go out of sequence. And when that happens, you have to change things, you know? So, what I think happened is that baby B's water broke really slowly and was just leaking amniotic fluid, which is like the worst case scenario that my doctor had told me could happen. And I would need an emergency section if that did happen, because if baby A's water breaks and baby A goes through the birth canal first, and then baby B can, you know, slide into place, everything's all good. If baby B's water breaks first and B, you know, wants to go be born first and their head isn't in the birth canal already, you know, she could have died just in the process of being born. So getting all this information really, it's so funny. Getting all that information really, like, you know, put it in perspective for me. I was so scared, and I really just wanted to leave, you know. I was like, I'm just gonna go home and put my feet up, like my mom said, I'll be fine. And I'm so glad that my doctor talked to me the way that she did. She was just like firm, but very kind and gentle, and just like, you need to come back here. It doesn't matter when, but you gotta come back here. And yeah, so then I was admitted on Thursday, had that meeting with renowned Dr. Torres on Friday, and then it was determined, you know, she had basically been mentioning, we're probably going to have to do a C-section. I'll do what you want, or I'll try to do what you want, but the reality of you actually needing a C-section is looking more and more like we're going to do that. So I wish that I had just been like smarter and just like done what she said instead of being stubborn and trying to stick with a vaginal birth. In a lot of ways, a vaginal birth is a lot more painful. The recovery is a lot harder. Like, you can't like sit on anything for like weeks. Everything hurts, and it's like your vagina that hurts. So it's just like basically one of the worst feelings imaginable. So a C-section is painful, and you definitely have a lot of physical limitations, but like it's been a way easier process in many ways compared to a vaginal birth. So yeah, I wanted her to induce me, so we got on the Pitocin, and then finally my boyfriend showed up with our daughter. He was at the house, so it took a while to communicate, like, okay, like the plan has changed. I was thinking originally that I was just going to go in and they'd release me and I'd come back on Monday and have the babies. Nope. It all kind of had to move really quickly, and I'm really grateful for that. So then I feel like it was like around 8 o'clock on Friday when I had been on Pitocin for a couple hours, and you know, my doctor was like, okay, the babies aren't really tolerating the contractions all that well, especially baby B. So we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to go into the OR. So I felt like everything kind of worked out perfectly because I kind of lost my appetite, and I was hungry, but I wasn't. I was just feeling really stressed out. Like, I knew that this was going to be a different experience than I had like planned for, but if I had done my plan and then only delivered one live baby, fuck my plan. My plan is a fucking stupid plan. You know, let's go with God's plan. So anyway, once it was determined that we were doing a C-section, things like moved really fucking fast. It was just really cool. It reminded me of like switching scenes in theater. It was just really cool. Or switching sets. Like, once they were like, oh shit, we gotta move. Like, everyone sprang into action. So I felt really bad for not just like saying, yeah, okay, let's plan this, because then I would have had a little bit more time to relax. They were already preparing for it, you know, unbeknownst to me. But yeah, my boyfriend and my baby were like, they showed up. So they once they were there, like, things happened within a half hour, you know, probably an hour later, and got wheeled into the OR and got cut open. So yeah, what other relevant details can I possibly share at this point? I don't really want them on camera. You can't really see anyway. Yeah. It was just crazy. Yeah, they wheeled me into the OR. They didn't make me, you know, they just made me feel special and like included. Like I had an epidural, thank God, and they dosed me up with a bunch more stuff to make sure that I was super numb. And yeah, it was just it was such a cool experience. You know, you're like fully awake, so you can like feel them like yanking on you, and then the baby, you hear, ah! But you can't see. They didn't lower the shade. I had said I wanted them to lower the you know, the little dressing. And of the C-sections that I had watched, it was a little scary for me, so I like didn't want to see. I'm glad that they didn't. They brought the babies around and showed them to me, because my arms were like completely numb. I was completely numb. Oh no. So yeah, it's a little incision. I don't even have like a scar. You cannot see it. It just looks the same. I do have a pretty big pooch still, but I've already lost like 20 pounds, which is cool. And breastfeeding is slow, but like the actual process, the first day, I don't like remember at all leaving the operating room or like walking. Like, I don't know. I remember with my first pregnancy, I could not walk for a while afterwards. With them, I don't remember like leaving the operating room or getting back to him. I don't remember any of that. I just remember when my babies were there, and then I was taking care of them, and just feeling like, oh my God, I'm so tired. The pain is like comparable to like, you know, period cramps. So it wasn't like that bad. I was expecting it to be much worse. Like when I gave birth, like just felt like, you know, you had road rash on your snatch, which was a horrible feeling. Everything's just all hot and puffy and inflamed and huge, and you got stitches. When you take a pee, it hurts. When you try to, everything just hurt with a vaginal birth. So this time around, there's a lot of blood and guts coming out of there, but didn't hurt. So thank God for that.
All right, Catherine.
Yeah. Yeah, so what other relevant details? We were there for a total of 3 nights. Okay. Right here, babe. Water? Total of 3 nights. The babies didn't need the NICU. The food was really fucking good at the hospital. They got like real deal chefs, and the food was just amazing. I ate really good. Everyone was so nice and amazing. If you want to have a baby and have a good time, I'm gonna have to record this. I just have a second. We're going night night. Let's go. Say goodnight.